So welcome. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, Prescription for Your Transformation, real people, real conversations, and real success. And it's July the 5th, so happy post-July 4th or Independence Day for all of you guys. And it really is about finding your own independence of things that unconsciously are affecting your life and consciously affecting your fitness. And sometimes that's also what you eat. And so understanding the nuances of the external factors as well as the internal factors that affect you and your body are critical to know. And not everybody is a master at that. Not everyone has the absolute right training to help you understand what are the very things that hold you back. And my guest today absolutely has that in her background. Learning from forensic psychology, which is an incredibly fascinating subject for me, but also as a certified trainer and nutritionist. And I'd like to welcome Adriana. Thank you so much for joining me today and giving us those insights. Very specifically, what's kind of sort of holding us back when it comes to what our mindfulness is or lack of it, our mindsets, and our nutrition. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So with your background in forensic psychology, which I think is fascinating, obviously you are going to have some insights that most trainers, really don't have, because it's that psychology that really affects us in holding us back from doing what it is that we want to do or getting that success. So if you would just share a little bit about your thoughts, how that ultimately, affects what it is that we can do when it comes to our fitness and what's actually holding us back.
Yes. Well, generally, we think about fat loss and getting fit and getting lean, and we just think about exercise, but we don't really realize what big impact our mind has on our goals, right? So if we just exercising, but we neglecting everything else, we may be able to succeed at going to the gym, for a few weeks. But if we don't keep our mindset straight, it's very unlikely that we're not gonna continue training and we're gonna accomplish our goals, because it's important for us to keep, in a way, paying attention to our thoughts. Because if, let's say, we wake up in the morning and then we're like, I don't really feel like training, then, if you just neglect your thoughts, then you just say, all right, I'll just train tomorrow. And that's how tomorrow becomes the next tomorrow and the next tomorrow. And then, that's what happens. But then, if you say, okay, I'm not really, I don't really feel like training, but you stop and then you say, okay, why I don't feel like training? What's going on? So, going into being more introspective and mindful about what is it that we're thinking and why, going back to the whys, why is it that we're thinking what we're thinking, and the fact that we can change our thoughts. So when we change our thoughts, we change our actions. So basically that's the thoughts are the movers of everything. They move our emotions and they help us move into action. So that's why it's so important.
And that was precisely my challenge before, because I hired a personal trainer and I just wasn't getting anywhere. And I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. But also the big challenge was because of all the things that I do. I'm very active in so many different areas. And the one area that's perhaps the most important to me, I still neglect to this day. And so I guess that's where you have a great advantage in when you do your coaching, is that not only you're helping them, to dial into the right kind of, exercise activity or fitness activity, but also the mental one.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely, and we all are pretty unique. And, we all specifically have our diverse thought patterns, our sabotaging patterns, right? So, each person do different things that, keep them stuck, let's say. So, it's good to have somebody with an objective mindset and who's able to pinpoint, okay, you're doing this now. Why is it that you're doing that? And you could be doing this instead, So it's important to not only implement the physical part, but also to be very aware and, be able to pinpoint what is it that we're doing.
Do you think that a lot of people that fail in that sense are also not really aware of, what their body is going to be like in 5, 10, or 20 years? And if they knew that, they might do things differently?
Yes, well, there are statistics in which, in the beginning of the year, a lot of people do the resolutions, right?
Right.
And they say that after like the third month, only 8% of 100 people, right? Only 8% are still, let's say, working out, right? So that's
Right.
like a minimal amount of people. And one thing, let's say, they don't see what can happen in the future if they continue in an unhealthy path, but also they don't see what can happen in the future if they will really commit themselves to train. Maybe in their minds they don't really see themselves as a fit person. They don't see themselves as lean, healthy, right? So also it is the vision that we have of ourselves that help us mobilize. Sometimes we keep ourselves trapped and stuck into a view of ourselves that maybe it's a view that we had when we were growing up, that we were told, oh, you cannot do that, or you are chubby and that's how you are, and then we always keep those thoughts in our mind. But if we were to change our thoughts of what we can do, but also of ourselves, then we'll start making big changes.
And I also think that sometimes happens is that, we're in this society, if you will, where we're very busy. We're very busy with a lot of different activities. And it's almost like, now you don't even have to go to the store anymore. You just buy things on Amazon. I love Amazon.
Yes, it's amazing.
Except that I end up, buying way too many things, and that's a problem.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
the point that I'm getting at is that it may also be that people think, well, I want a great body, but I want to make it really easy and quick and efficient. And when that's not happening, when they're not getting the results, they may just get disempowered or disillusioned and not even try anymore. And it's simply because also, they just don't have that vision. I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think people are expecting quick results and therefore, fall off quickly because it's too much work?
Yes, I mean, definitely, people want things like this to happen, right? Really fast. And, we're in a society of instant gratification where we want it now. And when that doesn't happen, then we're like, okay, this doesn't work. In the meantime, they don't realize that it took how many years for you to gain all this weight. It didn't happen overnight, right? So the same thing is losing weight, and actually losing weight is a little bit harder than putting on the weight. So it cannot happen, from 1 week to the next. Generally, after you start working out for a month, you start to see a little bit of results, um, body fat wise. You start to see results, fitness and your energy, within a couple of weeks, you start to see some results. But like to really see big changes, it takes some time, and it takes dedication and it takes discipline. And, a lot of people, like you say, we're busy, but we're busy, I think, with the wrong things. Maybe the problem is that we don't prioritize our health. If it was a priority, right? As it is a priority to eat or to go to work, right? You have to go to work to get paid, right? So if working out was a priority, then you'll find the time to do it. But then in your mind, you don't think it's really a priority. Well, that's why 75% of Americans are overweight. So,
And then the other part is, and you alluded to that in the very beginning of our conversation, is that everyone is unique, and with so much information out there about exercise techniques and training techniques and nutritional solutions, it's very confusing. And so you can pick up 90% of all this information that's absolutely useless for you, and as a consumer it can be hard to really get dialed into the right thing. And that's why I think it's important to have someone like yourself who is certified not only in personal training but also nutrition, and has that psychology background, because now you can really help people in very different ways and really help them find what it is that they need to find out. Because one thing you mentioned, and as much as I know about nutrition, I hadn't really thought about this, but you were mentioning how your diet, what you eat, actually is affecting your brain, and therefore your brain is also going to affect how you perform. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, well, we really don't realize, and I didn't realize this, but within the past few years, before I didn't really realize the impact that nutrition has on our bodies. Let's say when I was 20, I used to have allergies, I used to have asthma, I used to have gastritis, I used to take medications for all these things, right? But my diet, I used to eat just anything, fast food or whatever I wanted, right? But without realizing that, even at some points I was thinner, but my health was atrocious, right? So not to the point in which it was breaking down, because the body is an amazing machine and it does whatever it can to keep you functioning, right? But eventually, that's when you're gonna get all these degenerative diseases or conditions like cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, all these things. But all it has to do with what you put in your mouth and what you put inside your body, because what we feed ourselves is gonna help us to have energy, or it's going to help us to, to feel bad. And they had this movie years ago, the one in which Super Size Me, I think was the name,
Right.
in which this guy ate McDonald's for I don't know, I think like a month.
Right.
And at the end of the month, he was like, his cholesterol, his blood pressure, he was like 30 pounds overweight. And all that because of what he was eating, and we are so used to eating processed food. It's not really food. It's processed like food, but it's not really food. If we stay close to the earth and eating, clean, eating a lot of vegetables every day, good proteins, not processed like food, we won't have all these conditions that we have right now. So it's major, and you absolutely cannot neglect your nutrition if you want to be healthy. It's number one thing that you have to change.
Yeah, and it's also perhaps the easiest thing to change as well. And my understanding is that when it comes to our weight, the traditional thinking is, you've got to exercise more, and that's where that's where the major impact will come from. But the truth is, it's mainly from nutrition that that you can adjust your weight. You have to have both, but the focus needs to be on what it is that you eat and versus just working out. So I understand that you have some great books that you have participated in and published, and one coming out you want to share with us as we slowly wrap up this delightful conversation about your books.
Yes. So one of them came out already. It's on Amazon. It's called The Better Business Book. This one is volume 2. So this one is a project in which a group of entrepreneurs, business people, we give our ideas about what has helped us in business. And, it's great because it has people from different backgrounds, and it really can give you different perspectives into what is it that can help you be successful. And so that's one. Another book, the other one is my personal book that hopefully it's going to be coming out this year, but it's in dealings with the publisher. It's called 28 Days to a New Life. And that one is basically about what I'm about, which is having a holistic approach to health, to fat loss, incorporating mindset, incorporating stress management, incorporating good, clean nutrition and exercise for us, to stay healthy. And when we're still healthy, we're happy, everybody around us is happy. So it's a cascade, right?
Right. No, I love that title because you know what? We seem to overcomplicate our own health when it's really that simple. And in 28 days, you can literally change your entire life. And one thing that we all forget, or most of us forget, is that your body's your temple. That's where
Absolutely.
everything happens. And you've got to take care of the temple. You got to take care of the house. Otherwise everything is a mess. And, if people paid much more attention, were much more mindful to their own health and wellness, life could be so much better. So as we wrap it up, you have some specific ideas about activity and what that's like on a weekly basis, so that you can remind us, the listeners, what is it that we really need to do and we are not allowed to forget?
Okay, so it is essential for us to do at least 30 minutes for five days a week of cardio, even if it's walking, okay? Because our bodies were meant to be active. That is essential. And it is essential for us to do strength training. A lot of people think that, going to the gym and lifting is just for the big guys, and or older people say, oh, that's not for me. No, everybody benefits. It helps our bones. It helps not only our muscle, but our bones, our cardiovascular system. So we all need all that. And obviously, we need vegetables every day. That's the main thing.
Well, thank you so much for today. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and how do people find you? I know one thing, that you were successful at this competitions and fitness competitions, and that requires a very, very special mindset too. And obviously there are people out there that might be interested in being coached by you or learning more about you or your book. So how do people find you?
Absolutely. I have a blog, which is www.fitnall.com, Fit and All. But I'm also in LinkedIn, Adriana Albritton. I'm also in Facebook. My page is AFit Wellness, and Instagram is Adriana Fit and All. So I'm pretty much everywhere. If you Google me, you'll find me.
So, all you social media gurus, you'll find out very quickly. And I invite you to add those links on the comment box with this interview. And once again, Adriana, it's been delightful talking to you. I really want to thank you. And I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, Prescription for Your Transformation, real people, real conversations, real success, bringing to you new voices and new solutions, helping you find out what you didn't know that you didn't know. That's going to make the very, very difference in your life. And especially today, things that you've heard can absolutely do that. So once again, thank you, and happy post July 5th, or July 4th, I should say.
Thank you.